A live streamer named Lothar is in the middle of playing Hearthstone when he suddenly starts acting out of sorts. If you pay close attention to his face, you can see that he is clearly feeling some discomfort. He takes his headset off and tries to regain control over himself, but to no avail. And his wife finds him there. She tries to get him to come to his senses. Here is a brief excerpt of the call. I don't speak the language, but common sense gives me some idea of what she is saying. Still, any translations are appreciated.
Nie, ale tak wyglądało. Myślałam, że się czymś... Słucham? Tak, ale myślałam, że się czymś zadławił.
In case anyone is wondering, Lothar spent about a week recovering, but this has not happened since. This paranormal investigator's creepiest capture in a cemetery is bone-chilling. The YouTuber was exploring the hauntings at St. Joseph Cemetery near Kimswick, Missouri, when she captured several EVPs.
Michael?
Later, while she was attempting to communicate with the passed on using a spirit box, Michael made his physical cameo. Watch to the right, just above the vehicle.
Which grave is yours?
Nobody appears to be in the vicinity, so to whom does this shadow belong? I vote for Michael. Anthony lives around a bunch of abandoned farmland that he has always wanted to explore. So he takes his camera and spends the whole day poking around. He doesn't know anything about the history of this land or why it was abandoned, but the more he discovers, the less alone he feels.
There's a bed in here. Hello?
The buildings are all single-story structures in various states of decay, and each one is somehow distinctly lonesome in its own way. By the time he comes across the main house, he is very jumpy and senses eyes on him from afar. Tell me if you hear whispering during this part when he opens the door.
Makes me weary.
I guess it could just be the creaky springs of an old screen door or something, but it really does sound like it could be voices. Anyway, the inside of the house is pretty well kept, especially compared to the other buildings, yet the unrelenting unholy aura only grows stronger with each step he takes. At one point, an abandoned nursery room literally makes Anthony nauseous. Surely something bad must have happened here.
This was a kid's room, and I feel so uneasy. I feel dizzy.
Anthony manages to check out the rest of the house, even the basement, without incident. He's ready to leave altogether, but there's just one final surprise left for him on the way out.
What the f was that? Something literally kicked the door.
The door abruptly closes with a short and impolite slam, the exact kind that homeowners use when they are upset with someone for being at their door. I don't think Anthony shut the door by himself because he was out of arm's reach when it happened, and maybe it's just me, but I think I can see some kind of shadowy mist in the window on the right. Coincidentally, in the same room he was just in, a TikToker named Kayla is posing in the mirror when she notices her Snapchat filter detecting a face in the corner of her room. She slowly zooms in to find Snapchat has successfully located a pair of eyes, a nose, and a mouth directly behind her. Even after the filter goes away, you can still see the imprint of a somber face in her bed sheets, neither smiling or frowning. I guess she could have carefully folded the face herself, testing each over and over again until Snapchat detected a face, or maybe it simply came to her like she says. Only Kayla knows for sure, and in my opinion, she looks just as surprised as the rest of us. While the front of a restaurant is running like clockwork, behind the scenes, things are heating up. That's what happened to Zach Burrell, who was working at McDonald's in 2011 when a grease fire occurred. He published his video of heroism in October of 2011, noting that it was him putting the grease fire out, and that he was poorly trained to do so. In the beginning of the video, you can see the flames spring up in the cooker, then there's a mass panic in the kitchen, and workers start racing around, trying to figure out what to do. Every effort they make seems to throw heat on the flames, lighting it up more. Zach explains what happened. First, I pulled the wrong mounted extinguisher, and the grill was covered in liquid. Then one of my crew members tried putting an oily lid on top of the vat to cut the oxygen off. It fell in sideways and the flames doubled. In the end, Zach grabbed a fire extinguisher to douse the flames, but not before the entire kitchen filled with smoke, leaving a dramatic scene that could have led to lives being lost. Pretty crazy, he writes, but at least I saved the store. An extravagant wedding in Brazil has plans for the bride to arrive by helicopter. She and her brother are waiting to surprise the groom and everyone else who are patiently waiting not too far away. The skies are gray and there is no visibility. I'm guessing the pilot was probably navigating by special flight instruments when one of them falls, as indicated by the buzzing noise that begins at 1 minute and 46 seconds and continues for 10 seconds all the way down. The camera is ejected from the helicopter and rolls into a field. The red seen on the grass is actually the flashing emergency lights of the helicopter. Truly a horrifying event. While driving down a cemetery bypass road, a creepy figure was spotted in the darkness. Published by Asmani Tagat in April of 2022. Dressed in white, this ghostly woman was captured on camera by the driver. As they approach the woman, she continues to just stand there. Only her long dark hair and white robe move slightly with the breeze. What is this woman doing? Is she warning them? Or should they steer clear? The SEMGHS ghost hunters record some interesting evidence of the paranormal during their investigation of a house in Waterford, Michigan. Nobody is anywhere near the doorway when this motion detector goes off, so tell me how this can happen.
This is my shadow. Oh, the motion went off.
Then when he says hello, the motion detector fades away as orbs fall.
Hello. Okay, what you are seeing right there lit up, that's the motion detector. And
as they are talking about what happened, a third voice chimes in with this creepy whisper.
Yeah. Plus it was the extender of the...
A team of cryptid hunters make a wild discovery deep in the woods of North Carolina. In the Uwharrie National Forest is where they find a mysterious imprint that extends 13 inches long. They think this is not a footprint but a handprint, with oversized knuckles at one end and a wide base of the palm at the other.
Hey guys, I'll show you what we just found. We got us a 13-inch tracker, just a little over. We sure did. We got toe prints. We got the break in the middle. Right here. Yes, sir.
I kind of see what they mean, but I'm not sure if this is from a cryptid or not. It kind of looks like where a rock could have been or something. I'm also wondering why there aren't any prints to accompany this alleged handprint, but at the same time, I don't have a solid explanation for what caused this, and was wondering what you think about this extra creepy sighting in the woods.
Well guys, so far we found what looks like to be either handprint or knuckle prints again. And we just come across this track right here. So that's awesome. That is awesome.
You probably don't see anything off in the distance, but Sabura Rout has lived in India for many years and is familiar with this train route. He knows where to look and quickly spots something up ahead. Lurking many yards away is a shadowy figure who is up to no good. I will give you one more chance to spot them and save your own life. If you fail, then consider yourself the next easy target. The person waits for the train to pass and launches a rock in hopes of making this YouTuber drop his phone, which he plans to retrieve and probably sell for money. Fortunately, he is ready and dodges it easily. I can only imagine how many people have not been as prepared as him and had their phone fall straight off the train. A man is testing out his GoPro when a mysterious sea creature is caught on camera in deep waters. Look closely behind him. You'll just barely see a small black object move in the waves before mysteriously disappearing back to wherever it came. He suspects this bizarre sighting could have been anything from a great white to an orca whale, or something smaller like an otter or a seal is not out of the question. That's a big difference and not something you'd want left up to your imagination while floating on a kayak by yourself with nothing around for miles. The creature does not resurface and ultimately leaves them alone. He's not sure which mysterious creature is responsible for this suspenseful moment caught on GoPro, but there's always a chance of an even closer encounter next time. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by BushWookie83, this redditor wrote, "Looks like Mike Myers paying me a visit. WTF is that? Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
Hey man, that was cool. What are you doing? What's going on? You okay? Can I get away? Do you want me to say how you're doing?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Duck Consume Bread wrote, "Man, I don't know how you could just sit there. I'd already be moved out, lol." While Neo1LoneWolf6985 wrote, "It looks like the reflection of your flashlight on your phone, reflecting on certain parts of the glass, giving off the illusion of a face actually. Looks like the exact same tattoo I have of Michael Myers on my arm. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments." If you have a sibling, then they've likely played practical jokes on you before, but what happens when the impractical is not a joke? In this video, something is seen floating on the other side of the room. As the boys grow increasingly panicked, a toy car is thrown at the younger brother, while another toy car comes flying towards the older brother, seemingly of its own accord. The video cuts out and then resumes as the brothers are arguing with each other in Malay, perhaps blaming each other for the paranormal activity. The younger brother is being yelled at, and he screams back in anger before leaving the room. The older brother looks concerned, and when they go check on him, they find a figure standing on the toilet hanging upside down. After shouting out, one of the older brothers rushes back into the dining room, and it seems the paranormal is not over yet. A chair shoves out from under the table on its own. He grabs his phone, while the other brother attempts to restrain the child. That's where the video ends. While many in the comments are doubtful of this video's authenticity, some are all in saying this is real. Facebook user Mohammed Zarif Amin is one of the latter, writing, "All of you who comment says this is all an act. Just be careful if he wants to disturb you. We have to believe this smooth creature exists. I guess if we don't believe, we are more vulnerable." This home in Velisca, Iowa is where an axe-wielding maniac once took the lives of an entire family and 2 guests. Whoever did it was never brought to justice, and now, more than 100 years later, the restless spirits of those left behind have yet to find peace. A YouTuber named Lighthouse Music senses the spirit of children hiding in the closet and starts recording. She speaks in a nice tone and offers candy. Nothing happens for some time until... Then, as if further proof was needed, the spirit appears to follow some other basic commands.
Just a little bit further, or can you close it?
They even ask the child to open the door wider than before as a test, and it timidly seems to obey. But the part that really has me convinced is at the very end.
Just in case that was you, I'm gonna do as promised. I'm gonna leave you some candy. I'm gonna leave it right here, over here on this chair for you, okay? Well, thank you.
Notice how the door shuts harder than any other time in the video as soon as the spirit gets what it wants. Maybe it could be a draft from a nearby window opening and closing the door, but this definitely seems like childlike behavior to me. The team from Casa Sobrenatural is visiting a house with a malignant demon in this scary clip. At first, they think they see something.
É muito assustador, velho.
Ah, vai ser lascado. Vocês escutaram?
Killer.
Por Deus, você mexeu aquela
cadeira, cara. O que mexeu?
Por Deus, que mexeu, Sandro.
Mexeu o que, Der?
Mexeu a cadeira, por Deus, Sandro. Você não viu, Sozinho? Eu vi, cara, eu escutei.
And then that something makes its presence known.
Por Deus, sabe mexeu, Sandro.
Não, Der, acho que você tava vendo alguma coisa aqui.
Meu Deus do céu! Filho da puta, cara, que é isso, cara?
When they dare to enter, things get more aggressive.
Meu Deus do céu, cara! Sai, sai, sai! Meu Deus do céu, tio! Viu que bateu lá, cara? Bateu lá! Jesus amado, bateu, cara.
What is inside? They think it's over, but the demon has one last scare in store for them.
Hã? Pare com isso, cara. Não guarda aqui. Caralho, mexeu a cadeira de novo. Escutou? Eu escutei. Escutou que... Meu Deus do céu. Cara, arrastou essa cara. Vamos embora. Vamos embora, pelo amor de Deus. Pelo amor de Deus, eu vou rezar. Cara do céu, velho.
In my opinion, there's something truly evil in this house. You can just feel it. This Great Dane is walking through the kitchen when a small object crosses its path. Another orb passes by and immediately gets noticed. You don't have to be an animal lover to tell this dog is clearly surprised and uncertain at what it's seeing. The animal freezes in place and then switches into hunting mode, tracking something invisible all throughout the house. I guess the dog could just be reacting to an insect or something, but that doesn't explain one last part, which occurs approximately 1 minute and 23 seconds into the video. This is the exact moment when the headlights of a passing car illuminate a shadowy figure as it runs from left to right. Many people believe this could be a supernatural presence manifesting itself as a shadow person. This, combined with the dog's behavior, certainly seems to create a strong enough case for the paranormal. A man has been plagued by a demonic invasion that refuses to give him peace. On February 9th of 2017, he records not one, but two shadow figures ominously standing nearby. All you can do is hear his nasal breathing as he watches, stunned and trying not to scream, all while this heavy drape breathes in and out all by itself. Watch how it moves. That's not the wind. Besides, it was staying still for the past 4 minutes and 40 seconds prior, and you don't even want to see what's moving on his other window. I'll show you its true form in just a little bit, but for now let's focus on a couple different incidences first. On July 22nd of that same year, he is turning over a crystal again and again, possibly in hopes that some of its protective energy will rub off on him. Slowly but surely, this bright spot begins to manifest itself before his very eyes. Starting at 1 minute and 33 seconds, hope turns to horror as the omen spins around to reveal a grinning reptile-like face that he is sure is the Lord of the Underworld himself, its stony face shrouded in half darkness. This ties into a separate incident 12 days earlier on July 10th. That's when he claims to have recorded what he calls a ghoul lurking in the bush outside of his window. When you pause at 3 seconds, it does look like the top half of a skeletal face that soon disappears into the bushes, black eyes and all. That definitely wasn't a normal animal, so what was it? It looks remarkably similar to the face seen in the crystal nearly 2 weeks later. Sometimes it would show up in the most unlikely of places, like the folds of a piece of fabric as shown here on February 15th, 2017. Do you see the creepy goblin face with a long nose, big ears and open mouth? I can even see an eye, and that's the more friendly of the two faces. This second one looks like two worried eyes and a mouth locked in a permanent scream. There's not as much detail and some of the features are disproportionate and misshapen, but it's still there nonetheless. So now that you've seen the demon's face a few times, I suppose you are ready to see the rest of it and the rest of the original video. This is what he saw crawling into his home that fateful early February day. This upside down creature is in fact one of the many beings who he claims to see on the regular. It's hard to make out exactly what this is, but it's harder still to disprove it, and it gives me a bad feeling all around. I tend to believe this video, and all of these sightings for that matter. He claims the quality of the video has somehow sharply deteriorated over time since uploading, and that the being at one point looked more detailed and even had horns. I don't see how this is possible for a digital copy to become less clear, but the colors do look muted here and apparently were brighter. So I want to know if you think that this man is legitimately seeing demons around his house, or if this is all happening in his mind. As much as I want to believe this is a delusion like some people think it is, I don't necessarily agree. The problem is I do see a lot of what he claims on video, so there's a good chance it could be true. A ghost was seen in Benares, India, walking across rooftops. The sighting scared many locals and led to a police investigation. Twitter user Benaresians tweeted this video of the incident. Did you see the figure? Take a closer look. So far, the police haven't discovered what the figure was or who was behind it. Maybe that's because it's absolutely real. What do you think? I'm on the fence with this one. Here's even more reason to not build your house too close to the ocean. Posted to Twitter by @CapeHatteras NPS. An unoccupied house was captured on video collapsing into the sea off Rodenthade, North Carolina in early May of this year. The footage shows the two-story house on stilts, standing precariously near the aggressive waves as the wind whips through. Then its front stilts give way, collapsing the house headfirst into the sea. It lands flat and is pulled out to sea for a moment by the tide, but the waves quickly push it back in. After a while, it comes to a standstill on the shore, looking shoddy and dilapidated. Reports say that this is the second unoccupied house to collapse on this day at Cape Hatteras. This is not a good day for those homeowners. A YouTuber named Jordan Bew is about to get some food with his brother Jeremy and some friends when he sees a tiny lizard hanging out by the pool. He doesn't want to hurt the little guy, so he takes it outside and goes to set it free, but it winds up taking a wrong turn.
Go get him. Get him, bud. Oh, he's in your hair. No. Oh, he's on your head. Stop. He's nuts.
Jordan's friend goes for the close-up, but accidentally scares it towards the safety of his hair. Only its tail is sticking out and then it's fully gone. They give it some time and let it resurface. It may have changed to the same color as his hair, and you can barely see it at this point. Finally, they scoop it out and set it free, but the lizard almost doubles back for another round and jumps on one of their shoes. Fortunately, it is not a repeat performance, and they are able to shoo it away. Some super creepy moments caught on home security video have left a man in India wondering if there is something wrong with his camera or the neighborhood at large. Let's help him decide if this strange activity is paranormal. A loud motorcycle goes by his house twice, so he looks at the security video, which looks fairly normal at first until you notice there's actually no motorcycle and barely the phantom image of a rider. The second time it goes by is extra creepy because it seems to dissolve away even more, and yet the headlights are on the entire time, which could be proof that this paranormal activity is more than just a glitch. A TikToker named Sarimar Munez finds herself laid out across the floor in surprise at this ghost sighting, which she is about to point out in a moment. She is singing a musical when a small gray face pokes into the shot and then retreats. The way it moves on its way out looks better than most edited videos, so either she put a lot of effort into this one, or as much as I wish it wasn't, maybe it's real. While exploring a haunted farmhouse alone, Dan from Nighthawk's Paranormal hears something present.
Make it fall forwards or backwards. Or just push it up.
You can hear faint footsteps, but when Dan looks over the landing, no one is there. Dan hears numerous other sounds in the house, including a male voice talking, and strange whispers.
What the flipping heck was that? Please tell me you heard that noise then.
I definitely get creepy vibes from this place, and wouldn't doubt that spirits are abound. All the unnerving whispers and unexplained noises do suggest the presence of John Penswick or some other spirit. What do you think is the case? This footage captured some bizarre unidentified flying objects over Mexico City in May of 2009. Let's take a look.
Vamos a ver las mismas imágenes, Pedro, pero en cámara lenta. Mira, ahí podemos ver algo que tú no viste en primera instancia. Exactamente. Decenas de esferas que van saliendo en ambas direcciones.
The orderly linear lights disperse. From there, things get chaotic.
Es el objeto como da de vueltas. Luego, estas como llegan a darle. Mira, aquí en cámara lenta las vemos. Caramba, hombre. Una de ellas, ve usted, le da la vuelta completa y se va, ¿no? Evidentemente que es un...
Still, they seem to be traveling in sync. A closer look shows they're blazing. Then they get lost in the clouds.
Salen esas cantidades de esferas. No, la verdad ya es otra cuestión, ¿no? Ya dices, caray. Esto sí, me dejó también así como a ti impactado, ¿no?
Mira, lo más extraordinario para mí, bueno, tuviste suerte al grabar.
Soon they're back in an orderly line again.
Te bajas del camión, lo sigues, lo tomas. Mira nada más. Sí. Mira qué imágenes, caramba. Y es en ambas direcciones. Entonces nadie puede decir que es un racimo de globos que se va deshaciendo. Salen en ambas direcciones.
Well, some say this is an optical illusion. Others call it the best UFO evidence they've ever seen. I also think it's quite compelling. It looks like a mothership hatching smaller aircraft. The Sorrel Weed House is said to be one of the most haunted buildings in all of Savannah, Georgia. 2 different women have met their end here. One of them named Matilda, who is said to still roam the courtyard in her black dress. While taking a tour of the area, a YouTuber named Billy Smith captures this quick video of a woman fleeing the house wearing an all-black corset. What's weird is how she never actually opens the front door to her left. Instead, she appears out of nowhere to cross the space between 2 columns, and then does emerge from the other side. According to Billy, this figure was heading in the opposite direction of the parking lot, so if they were a staff member, they would have to double around to get to their car eventually. He waited until 1:30 in the morning and saw no one else from the house for the rest of the night, and certainly no other traces of her. What hides in the shadows can oftentimes be shadows themselves. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mego White, the Redditor explains that she and her husband were away from home over a weekend and set up the motion detector Alfred camera app in their room for the surveillance. When they returned from their trip, they were met with this unusual and terrifying video. The clip shows a fuzzy bedroom backdropped by a doorway with either a light on beyond or a natural source of light casting inside the other room. That light shifts as something is apparently moving enough to set off the motion sensor. In fact, that something appears to pass right across the doorway, blocking out the light beyond for a moment. You can make out a distinct figure. It's more like a shadow or a vague or even invisible figure that still somehow manages to distort the light. There is definite movement, but from what, we can't know for sure. Redditor JJ740 asks if there was an intrusion, to which Meg answers that all the doors and windows were locked and nothing was missing. She also notes that strange things have been occurring in this house for a matter of months. Like what? Meg explains we can always see a shadow walking out of the office through the wall into my closet, and I always thought I was seeing things until we caught this on camera. She also says in another comment that her kids have heard people talking, and her 2-year-old has even started laughing at something in empty rooms of the home. A Redditor writes, that's actually genuinely creepy. Of course, as with every potentially paranormal clip, you have your insect theories, but most agree that the clip looks legit and not edited or faked. What do you think? Are you freaked out? I certainly am. Do you believe in poltergeists? What if you're confronted with video proof? YouTuber Ethan Thurrock posted poltergeist activity happening in his office across 3 videos. In the first video, the office door closes on its own. Some paper towel moves, along with a computer cable followed by a tape dispenser on the desk. Then the computer monitor starts to blink on and off. The timestamp reads 6/9/2015. In the second video in the same room, a toy car moves across the desk to the very edge. The timestamp reads 6/10/2015. It's hard to tell if the last video is in the same room, as it's from a different camera and perspective, but it's filming while someone is in the office. As she's working on her computer, her coffee mug suddenly moves abruptly, spilling some coffee on her desk right next to her electronics. She jumps up to move everything out of the way. If you weren't a believer before, you'd be hard to explain this series of events. A Twitter user named Kazuki Sake is visiting a graveyard in Japan when he claims this pebble broke off a statue and went into a frenzy. Try and translate this part into English if you can. So what do you think is going on here? This could be an actual ghost, CGI, or maybe even just a pebble on a string. A race car driver finds himself in one of the worst predicaments possible when the steering wheel breaks off in his hands. Shortly after kicking it into high gear by itself, judging by his right leg, it doesn't look like he hit the gas at all. The only thing left to do to keep from flying into the wall is pull the emergency brake, which he grabs immediately after fumbling a moment more with the now non-existent controls. The faraway look in his eyes at the end of it all says everything. He knows exactly how much danger he was in, and that he's lucky to still be alive. Christmas is apparently a time for scary things caught on camera, according to one grumpy ghost who is not exactly in the holiday spirit. I'm not 100% convinced that this scary ghost video is real, but I have to admit it's awfully strange how their dog barks right before it happens. It sounds like the dog knows something is already in the house, something paranormal, or perhaps they are simply using a string. This video very quickly turns into one of the worst fears that I think most people have: your parents walking in on you doing something embarrassing. This is believed to be a Twitch streamer from Russia, but I was unable to track down who this streamer is. If you know, let me know in the comments. But anyways, she's in the middle of lip syncing a Japanese song for the viewers watching her Twitch stream. That's when she hears her door opening. She quickly jumps to turn the music off, clearly embarrassed he's just walked into her stream. Apparently, this is her stepdad, and they have a short conversation before she starts closing the door on him. It's always been a fear of mine to get walked in on while singing along to my favorite songs, but I can only imagine how worse it would be to have it happen while in a cosplay outfit and live streaming. It might be time to buy a lock. We've all played Call of Duty, but what's it really like to be on the front line? This first-person footage will give you an idea. The Famous World published this footage in January of 2018. The video, which is 25 minutes long, is filmed from the perspective of the driver of the US Humvee. You can see more vehicles in front and someone outside guiding the driver to position the Humvee as a blockade. The driver tells his commander that the opposing forces are taking fire, which you can hear in the background.
You're looking south, right? Look where Gonzo's firing. Kilo 05, this is truck 5. Can you give us the distance and direction over?
The driver then hops outside and fires in the direction of the opposing forces. Following some back and forth, the driver arms himself and crosses the desert in open view to cover his brothers in arms, one of whom is hurt on the ground. They load the man into one of the Humvees, and then there's a good amount of running back and forth between the barricade and the Humvee. At some point, they load up to head off. It's unclear whether the opposing forces stood down, but what is clear is the scary standoff was handled textbook by these men. This doll looks innocent enough, but is it? Molly, also known as Aka, is pure evil. Here is proof. The conversation starts out simple.
One of the objects I've put near your vessel. Thank you. Thank you, Molly.
When the paranormal investigator presses further, she receives a confirmation.
Molly, can you just confirm that this is you? Yeah.
She also reveals her true feelings.
Are you negative and grumpy? No. Are you misunderstood? Thank you.
And then the question we'd really like to know the answer to.
Do you wish to harm anyone in this house? Yes.
But Molly doesn't just want to harm anyone. She's got a specific person in mind.
Do you wish to harm my son, Sam? Yes.
It's probably time to take your son Sam and get out of Dodge. Two friends are creeping around a forest in Granada, Spain when they stumble upon something they were never meant to see. The humanoid is likely hunched over its prey as the two approach. They accidentally make a noise and the humanoid's keen ears detect them instantly. It looks up from his meal, ready to attack. You can see that this creature is thin and bony. It looks skinny and sunken in, fast, with a high metabolism. Its reaction time seems way too quick for any ordinary person. In Toy Story, the toys come to life in a charming manner when the kids are away, but when it happens in this video, it's more chilling than charming. Originally posted to TikTok by Oscar Furlan, the video shows a Woody doll standing upright on the kitchen counter with one hand on a can. Noticing that a human person has entered, the doll glances over at him before dropping his hand, going stiff like a board, and falling over backwards into the kitchen sink. Although it truly does look eerily real, some claim it's an animation, while Redditor Anna Cabana says the dolls are designed to fall over in this manner when hearing the phrase, "someone's coming." Regardless of whether it's an animation or the toy's design, I think we can all agree with Mythical Gamer 9 who writes, it looks a bit too real, still very creepy, definitely not a toy on my wish list. Heavenly Harmonies sound haunting. This one may actually be. Published to YouTube in June of 2020. This clip comes from a video that'll give you nightmares, according to the Portuguese title. The clip is gaining traction in the Spanish and Portuguese speaking YouTube communities, and after watching, you'll know exactly why it's become so popular. The footage shows a children's choir practicing, led by their enthusiastic conductor. They're likely preparing to perform for their parents in a Christmas program, judging by their Santa hats. At first, all seems normal, nothing out of place. That is until the shot zooms in on this child, who appears to be experiencing something out of the norm. The girl with long black hair leans her head back as if her actions are out of her control. She appears possessed, and her face, blurred to begin with, even disappears at some points, like it's erased from the video altogether. The young girl dips her head back several times in this manner, which is plenty of cause for concern, but it's her seeming to vanish from the footage only to re-emerge that's especially creepy. Is this girl possessed? Can the vanishing act be somehow explained? What is happening here? One thing's for sure, it's freaky. The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile, rocky, narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, they watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing, but suddenly the ground crumbles beneath it and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly, their driver did not. Sometimes those abandoned buildings that some urban explorers enter are not entirely abandoned. In fact, in some cases, they're the stomping grounds for the occult. Published to YouTube by Lego Papa TV in March of 2020. Papa was likely not expecting to be chased down by a hooded stranger performing a ritual in a house where lives have been taken, but that's exactly what happened. He writes, "This is probably the scariest moment of my life I ever had. When moments like this happens, out of nowhere you put yourself in a situation that your mind goes blank." Papa explores the dark dwelling, which certainly gives off an aura that something terrible happened here. The house is utterly destroyed, littered with garbage, ransacked, covered with graffiti, and generally torn apart. As many in the comments point out, there were wet footprints at the doorstep, which may indicate that somebody recently entered the house, or was in fact there, or was still in fact there at the same time. And soon Papa discovers he is not alone. As he wanders throughout the house, he hears noises.
I know she stepped upstairs. Hello, anybody here?
He even sees a flashlight as someone searches for him, while he hides out in a bathroom. For some reason, despite all this, he continues exploring the house, ending up in the basement, but when he hears distinctive footsteps overhead, he hightails it out of there. Likely because it dawns on him that if he was to remain in the basement, he'd be completely trapped. It seems he escaped just in time. As he runs off into the woods, he glances back to capture a hooded person on camera, standing on the porch steps. If he had left a minute later, who knows what might have happened. A YouTuber named Yankee Reb travels to the haunted battlefield of Gettysburg, Virginia, and stands before an old battle cannon. He grows very still and records nothing but darkness for a full 20 minutes before any paranormal activity occurs. As the night progresses, a lone soldier silently marches around the cannon and stops just outside of the muzzle, which is where you would stand to reload it.
Holy down by the cannon, you see that? Oh, what is that?
I say it could be a soldier because, aside from the historic location, I can also kind of make out the old style sash and hat that some soldiers used to wear.
No way. What is that?
I have no idea.
Did you get that on the camera?
It's recording.
Oh my gosh, did you see that?
His attire is most visible at around the 1 minute and 58 second mark, so that's when you can get the clearest and most direct look for yourself. Let me know if you can see what he has on.
Did you, honestly?
I wouldn't believe it unless we recorded it.
Maybe this soldier in particular was accidentally taken out by his own cannon while reloading, which used to happen quite often back those times. This Chicago police body cam shows multiple officers rushing to save a man and his dog from freezing in Lake Michigan. From a distance, it looks like the distressed person is trapped on a snowbank at first.
Sir! Someone over here!
But as the officer approaches, you can see the person is actually waist deep in freezing waters and ready to go under. The officers quickly extend a rescue cord for him to tie onto, and they yank him to safety with one strong pull.
Come on! Pull me! Got this! Pull me! There we go. You're good. Come on! You're good. Thank you so much. You're good.
Thankfully, they are able to do the same with the dog as well. I'm guessing that he was walking his dog along the edge of the water for a nicer view when the snow gave way. The cold water must have left him practically frozen from the waist down and unable to climb out. Let me know if you agree whether or not that's what probably happened. This trail camera captures some deer grazing when one of them pauses as if something is nearby. They look directly at the camera, and in that moment a phantom pair of eyes move in the opposite direction. I was thinking that this could be a camera glitch that somehow reflects the deer's eyes back at an angle, but the eyes can be seen briefly again at the 12-second mark, and this time it looks like the deer notices and stares directly at them with more curiosity than fear. There are also plenty of other movements where the deer is looking at the camera without the phantom eyes present, so it might not be the equipment after all. Could this be an unknown flying creature like the uploader seems to think? Some cultures believe that the forest itself develops a living spirit to watch over the creatures within, so maybe that is what we are all witnessing here. This live interview was taken somewhere in South America. Only when the footage was later zoomed in and enhanced were they able to discover something strange in the background.
Bueno, básicamente en eso hemos sido convocados para la realización del...
Bueno, básicamente en eso hemos sido convocados para la realización.
What looks to be some sort of extraterrestrial creature with arms that are as long as its legs can be seen casually walking towards them. Its motives are unknown, but it does not appear to be alarmed or threatening. If this isn't CGI, then this is certainly a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence captured live. Images sometimes crop up on Google Maps Street View that are incredibly suspect. This Google capture is a bit more supernatural. Published to YouTube by The Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in August of 2018. This image was captured at Martha Chapel Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas. As one of the country's oldest cemeteries, Martha Chapel was built in the early 19th century. According to travel guide expert Dana Goolsby, the road leading to the cemetery is nicknamed Demon's Road. It earned this nickname from alleged encounters with the spirits that haunt the area. According to Goolsby, visitors to the cemetery sometimes find large handprints on their vehicles. Is something supernatural making its mark? According to the Houston Chronicle, the Google Maps Street View image was uploaded to YouTube in August of 2018, where it started trending. The image shows headstones near a fence line, surrounded by trees. Behind one of these trees hides a ghostly little girl. The grayish tint of her skin gives her a phantom glow as she peers around the corner of the tree. But wait, that's not the only haunting figure in view. Behind the fence line, walking amongst tall tombstones, is a dark cloaked figure. The phantom being definitely looks out of place. Maybe the cloaked figure is seeking this girl. We hope it doesn't find her. YouTuber Hype Mike heard unexplained sounds in this haunted mansion during a night he'll never forget. His cruise adventure gets off to a really rocky start.
What was that? What was that? Do you see that? What
that? Dude, I don't know what
What, hit something?
Dude, let's go out. Michelle, did you hit something?
I don't know, I
think
hit
so.
something.
Okay, everyone out.
Let's go inside. Let's go.
They discover he did hit something, but they have no idea where it went.
What is that?
Oh,
Wait, what? Look. Wait. Dude, oh my. What the heck is that? Did you see it? There was something. It was like, I couldn't get a good look at it. I just saw like a black shadow that just ran across.
They find that whatever it was left a trail though.
Dude, this is like a lot of though.
Well, keep following it.
Well, obviously ran to the woods. Look at this. Oh, yeah, on the leaf.
Then they hear the sound.
Is somebody there?
Hello?
There's like a oh my.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
I'm going in the car.
Yeah, let's go into the car right now, okay?
Two things that you should never mess with: a Ouija board and the spirit world. Posted by Big Rig Jiggin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Big Rig claims that when he leaves this Ouija board out on the table, something strange happens. According to Big Rig, this video has been time edited due to it taking over 70 hours to get this footage. I tried to sit and watch for the movement so I could record. The only times it was happening is when I left the room and came back hours later. Big Rig leaves a Ouija board on the table with the planchette sitting at the top pointing downward. He passes his hand over the table and around the planchette, assumedly to show there are no strings attached. Then he leaves the room. The planchette sits still for a long while, but after a time, it starts moving around the board. It appears to slide all across the board, moving around of its own accord. The movement is also shown at a different angle. As you can see, the desk is thick, so magnets are likely at play here. Nitro Fox Zero states in the comments that leaving the planchette on the board is a big no-no, and the fact that it's trying to leave the board means the spirit is trying to escape. Never really thought of that. Now this unexplainable Ouija board activity seems even creepier. When ghost hunters are distracted by EVPs, they might be missing the obvious right over their shoulder. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Alex Paranormal TV explains that when this occurred, they were receiving activity in that area via a K2 meter and spirit. He writes, "Keep in mind we check around to make sure the location is empty before investigation, and this place is in the middle of nowhere." The footage shows one of the investigators trying to communicate with the afterlife through the spirit box. As he asks the spirit and implores him to communicate, the man filming hears a bang. The other ghost hunter turns around to look over his shoulder, completely missing a full-figured shadow that crosses in the room beyond, over his other shoulder. Is this the spirit these investigators are communicating with? If so, he's doing more than speaking. He's come for a visit. Randonautica can sure be random, but then again, it's eerily spot on. Published to YouTube in January of 2021, Chelsea Luna writes, "This is my first time trying Randonautica, and I was so excited to have my friends Omar from Omar Gosh TV, James from The Fam, and Carlos from Carlos The Fam joining me on this adventure." And just like that, the adventure begins. They're driving along when something hits the back of their car.
What was that? What was that? Bro, there's something just hit the back of the car.
It sounds like a rock or a pebble. They stop to see if something is back there, but they come up short. In the distance, something is heard. It sounds like coyotes or something.
Is that a coyote?
I don't know what that is.
Stop!
Whatever it is scares the group, and they hurry to get in the car and lock the doors. Later, as they're driving by a bunch of tires, a strange growl is heard.
Monster.
What is that?
What? No, you heard something?
It sounded like a growl.
Yeah, it sounded like a growl.
They continue on. A strange sound effect that the crew missed is heard in the background. It almost sounds like a disembodied voice is screaming, and it says, "You."
Ow.
Oh, yeah. Bro, you even said at the last look.
At one point, they're taken to the statue of an angel defeating a demon. Carlos says he was thinking about an angel, so this is a bit freaky that the app drew them here. Does this creepy adventure make you want to never use Randonautica again? Because that's definitely the case for me. A YouTube channel called Good Cemeteries Gone Bad captures this scraggly sighting in broad daylight while investigating the Anclote Cemetery in Florida. They wanted to know if this was a spider web or a spirit, and I know that different spiders make different looking webs, but I have to say this looks like no spider web that I have ever seen before around where I live. Plus, look at the way it simply disappears upon hitting the light. That's not normal. So if you live in Florida, please let us know if this looks like any of the webs in your area, because I'm inclined to say that this is the paranormal at work. According to YouTuber 01 Supernatural Studio, a gambler lived in this place. He lost all the land in a bet and then chose to take his own life. Let's see if his presence remains. The ghost hunter quickly gets a reading.
黄色，不稳定。黄色，我跳到红色。好 ，OK， 那这个地方怎么废弃的？我现在就来告诉大家。
Inside, his meter spikes.
来镜子前面测测看磁场吧。哦，镜子这边红的耶。而且某方面来讲，这样的镜子会不会形成一个通道？The
spike occurs right next to a mirror. Could this be a portal into another world? As he continues to search, he hears a voice.
客家八音哎。小孩子的声音。
Here it is again with the infrared on. He asks the spirit to touch a paranormal device.
我请教一下，就是那他的父母亲的灵体还在这个地方吗？如果还在的话，摸一下好吗？谢谢。
It seems to me that the spirit is here, but what the spirit's intentions are remains a mystery. Old school gamers may remember Sweet Tooth from the Twisted Metal series on PlayStation. Well, this toy replica seems to be just as deranged as the clown character it was based on. It keeps doing something weird whenever its owner reaches for it. The battery for its remote control has been removed, yet it continues to make this sound. The only possible explanation I have is that the person who made this video has another car, and therefore 2 controllers. Maybe he removed the batteries from one controller and is using a second remote as a prank. Otherwise, I have no idea how this could be happening. It's 3 a.m. and therefore time for 2 brothers to test their bravery down in the basement, which they are pretty sure is haunted. They spend about a minute down there and start hearing noises from the back of the room. The brothers quickly agree that this noise sounds like a single human footstep in the darkness, and I would have to concur.
What's that? Yo, do you see that?
Instead of running away, the 2 brothers decide to directly confront the creature, or spirit, or whatever it is that's down there with them, and the timing of its reply shows that it understands them completely.
If there's anyone here with us, please make a sign. Get out, girl.
The 2 brothers were hoping to last the night, but they hardly make it down there 5 minutes. Every sound they hear comes closer than the one before, until this final sound comes from directly behind them as they leave.
I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm scared. Oh my, okay, alright, bye guys.
You can see the younger brother is right next to him, and he doesn't do anything to cause the sound, so unless there's a third person with them, I think this video is absolutely real. An abundance of paranormal activity means Stephanie Elmager is never truly home alone.
I'm gonna walk around my house. The reason I'm filming this right now is I'm trying to catch some paranormal activity on my recorder. As you can see, there is nobody in my house. Do you hear that? My TV just came on.
A kids program politely tells her to get out of the house, and then the lights turn on by themselves.
And the alarm just went off. Do you see this? There is nobody in this house. The TV just came on. Holy. If that was a ghost, give me another sign. Anything. You gotta be kidding me. Does everybody see that?
She crosses the kitchen to show us where the light switches are, and
there is nobody in this house. Look, the lights are right there. If anybody at all, I'm gonna turn it off. It was even up. Look, if anybody... Holy... What the...
A bedroom is haunted by a pale figure with a long crooked neck who is either standing behind or on top of her bed. When she does a double take, she finds it much closer now, peering at her from around the door.
Oh my God. Okay, I don't get scared very often. Oh, that just freaked me out. Okay, let's walk back in there.
I agree with her completely. I saw it too, so either this is a real ghost sighting, which I'm almost sure it is, or we are both losing our minds.
I am not losing my mind. There is nobody in here. Look, there is nobody anywhere.
This haunted home has visible spirits stalking about. Published by A Sip of Fear in January of 2022, an unsettling figure was captured in the glass during this paranormal investigation. After setting up some cameras in this haunted home, activity begins pretty quickly. A wardrobe door is captured opening and closing, and later a bang causes the paranormal investigator to jump out of his skin. In another room, a stationary camera captures a figure's reflection in the glass door of a shelf. And again, the wardrobe door opens and closes repeatedly. Is this spirit trying to tell us something? Or does she just want to be left alone? It's 2008 and two friends record themselves playing video games because they're bored and live streaming doesn't exist yet. As they're getting frustrated at Mario and talk trash on each other's skills, they both fail to see a ghostly watcher at the window. At 43 seconds, a pale blue face appears and then fades away. It could be a ghost in the window like they claim, but I think more realistically, it was probably a reflection of one of their friends in the same room as them. It kind of looks like one of their friends is shining a flashlight up at their face to give a spooky effect. Even though this video has been freaking people out for over 12 years now, I think it's most likely staged. What you are hearing is the heavy breathing of a man who took the lives of 14 people. This message was left on the answering machine of one of his targets during the 70s. It's clear that he's trying to instill as much fear as possible before his next strike. He wants the person and the community at large to know what's going to happen to all of them, and he savors their fear. The message is so over the top that I think most people would have had a hard time believing it was real. But if you ever receive a message like this one, remember that there are people out there who are not fooling around and will hold themselves to their word. This house is most haunted. YouTuber Sandro Silva CS investigates the creepy place in this scary video. When they arrive at the house, they're immediately frightened.
Lá dentro? Ô, viado, por Deus, sabe o que eu vi na janela. Ô, Sandro, por Deus do céu. O que? Ô, Sandro, vamos sair daqui. Sandro, verdade. O que você viu? Sandro, eu vi. O que você viu, louco? Sandro, eu vi uma pessoa na janela.
But what scared them? Inside, they find no one.
Pra você, cara. Sandro, vamos sair daqui, ó. Não entra.
Sandro, vi mesmo, cara. Ô, já. Sandro.
Calma, Dor.
Isso aí, homem.
But then they hear a noise.
Estranho, né?
Vai ser lascado. Cara, bateu com força aquele troço lá, cara.
And that's not the end of it.
Moça, eu tô com medo de ir na frente.
Olha! Olha, Sandro! Olha onde que voa essa cadeira! Sai daqui, ó! Nossa! Nossa senhora do céu, cara! Começou já! Começou!
Was there a spirit in the room with them, or just a trapped animal? I think the sound is more spirited than scared. In fact, it seems to me like it's wanting to scare us. Muna Bruzan bought this strange and creepy doll at an antique sale after she felt its eyes watching her. Now the doll apparently continues to do so as their connection grows stronger over time. Here you can see her pick up the doll to admire her. When the doll apparently comes to life, you can hear Muna cry out in surprise as the doll turns towards her and flutters its eyes. I have no idea how this could have happened, since both of her hands are nowhere near the doll's head when it turns to face her. When she puts the doll back down, it seems to understand that she is done playing and thoughtfully turns its gaze outside the window. Exploration Unknown is a Knoxville-based urban exploration channel run by a man named John Turner. First appearing on YouTube in 2016, he dedicates his time to venturing into creepy abandoned locations, from derelict home to former orphanages and asylums. His choice of location will often have a gruesome true story behind them, including the takings of life and other horrible events. Back in November 2017, John, along with friends James and Tim, returned to the abandoned Glendale Orphanage they previously explored. This time their goal was to conduct the infamous 3 a.m. challenge. In short, 3 a.m. is considered the witching hour, the perfect time for hunting ghosts. Almost right off the bat at the video start, John and the others have split up when a wooden board is seen falling on its own from behind a doorway. John goes to investigate, and much to his shock and slight bemusement, it turns out it was just James playing a joke on them. This appears to be in James's nature, as he does so again when he slams a metal door shut, scaring John so badly he accidentally stops recording. Jokes aside, Tim soon begins to feel lightheaded after the trio go to the second floor and therefore decides to head outside for some air. Meanwhile, James and John continue to investigate the second floor, finding the normal things you would expect in an abandoned building: graffiti, specks of dust, etc. When they descend the stairs back to the first floor, they are shocked to find Tim collapsed on the floor, out cold.
Down in the basement. I hope I got reception down there.
Tim? Dude, you okay? Tim, dude. Tim.
Bro, what are you doing?
You okay, man?
Thankfully, they were able to wake him, although he is clearly dazed and groggy. The reaction from John and James are of genuine concern and confusion, and Tim appears to be really out of it with a pale complexion. Deciding Tim's safety is more important, James and John help their fallen friend back outside and back to the car. Clearly shaken by the incident, John and James decide not to venture into the basement, and instead, footage of their previous visit is shown. It is unknown what exactly happened, and no other paranormal activity can be seen in the footage, so it is undetermined if Tim was the victim of some sort of attachment. He does show the common signs of paranormal attachment, which often manifest as feeling lightheaded and nauseated, and can even lead to passing out. What could also be possible is Tim came under the effects of harmful dust in the building. Considering the age and state of the orphanage, it is possible Tim became overwhelmed by particles such as asbestos, a once common insulation that can cause damage to the lungs if breathed in. The fact that John and James were unaffected does cast some doubt on this theory, although it is still completely possible. Regardless, finding your friend unconscious on the floor of such an eerie location is certain to scare anyone. Thankfully, Tim was okay and apparently started feeling a bit better after resting by the car. With that said, the three decided to call it a night and left the location. John clarified in the video description and comments Tim was okay and recovered, as well as thanking those who expressed concern for his condition. On February 21st, 2021, John uploaded a director's cut of the original video, acting as a sort of commentary. John discusses his personal experience that night. He stated he felt concerned about Tim when he said he wasn't feeling good and expressed regret for not going with Tim to make sure he was alright. He also said he has received messages from people who had lived there during its operation, saying they actually had good experiences while residing there. They considered it a home with the staff taking good care of them. Comparing it to places such as Leckworth Village, it is a relief to hear good experiences about an orphanage, as they can be notorious for negativity, to put it mildly. When discussing the moment he and James found Tim, he said it looked as if he broke his leg. It is at this point John himself discusses a possible third explanation for Tim's condition. According to John, Tim had been up almost 30 hours at this point and had actually worked a full shift of work prior to joining the others. However, he also expresses Tim is sensitive to locations, including a time he collapsed at Skinwalker Ranch. This gives further support something had attached to him, but considering the positive remarks from former residents, it's hard to say what attached. It's good to know Tim turned out okay in the end, as these investigations can cause serious consequences. Have you ever played hide and seek with a ghost? Posted in April of 2020, this footage shows you can run but you can't hide. Entering a disused building at night, which appears to have been an office building of some kind, this brave soul navigates the deserted place, with rooms littered with debris and office chairs overturned in the hallway. The guy filming seems to sense the presence of something unseen. He addresses it, but nothing makes itself known. Looking up and down hallways and around corners, he decides to ascend the stairs. On the second level, an overhead fan is spinning. With no electricity on, this movement is incredibly eerie. He calls out again to whatever presence is in the haunted building, before tentatively walking up the rest of the stairs and turning the corner to another hallway. He exhales audibly in relief after finding the hallway empty. As he walks down the hall, with small scraps of paper scattered everywhere on the floor, he hears a sharp click. He kicks a door from one of the adjacent rooms open. Checking all corners of the room and behind the door, he finds no one and nothing in there. He runs to the opposite room, also kicking the door open and entering it to find it empty, apart from furniture. He returns to the hallway, looking back and forth several times before continuing down the hall. As he turns another corner, scanning the next hallway and its rooms, he screams as an office chair glides past behind him. When he turns to enter a room, he kicks the chair away from him, but moments later the chair moves again as he continues down the hallway. Now the noises really escalate. There are bangs and sounds coming from every direction. As he walks past a room, the door slams shut. He enters the room and a window slides open. More sounds bang all around, causing him to race out of there for his life.
Bismillah, Allahu Akbar.
As he arrives at the stairwell, a loud screeching is heard, like tables being moved around, only the screeching doesn't stop for a long time. After watching this footage, one thing's for sure, this haunted building is not for the faint of heart. While searching an abandoned house, this paranormal crew felt a heavy and sinister energy. That energy manifested itself in several ways. Watch what's lurking in this doorway.
E aí, como tá? Com a sensação que tem alguém dentro.
The energy intensifies. And the images the team has captured serve as evidence of the heaviness that they found here. I don't think I would have the guts to enter, and after seeing this video, I definitely have to pass. Play of a paranormal YouTube channel called Time to Play TV is exploring the old Hamilton County Jail in Jasper, Florida on a ghost hunting investigation. Built in 1893, this haunted jail was in operation for 101 years. It is the resting place of many who are believed to have returned as wailing apparitions, slamming doors shut and turning on the lights. Some sections have been remodeled, and this guest bedroom is where you'll find a creepy possessed doll. As they are moving the creepy doll from its crib to the bed, a bizarre shadow goes ahead of them and disappears under the bed. Anyway, they sit her up and set up paranormal equipment to better investigate, and that's when the situation goes from strange to beyond creepy. 4 minutes and 27 seconds into the video is when they are able to convince a ghost to communicate through EVP equipment.
Are you okay with us being in this room right now?
Yes.
Yes. Another yes.
Yeah.
I don't think these EVPs are pre-recorded messages on a fake ghost hunting app because the scary voices continue to make sense and answer very specific questions in real time.
Do you know who we are? Like, can you tell us our names?
A little ghost girl's voice says something I can't understand. And as the creepy doll moves by itself, the scary voice of a little ghost girl screams right before the doll falls over.
Oh my gosh. The doll just
That's
fell
been
down.
up for...
They sit the cursed toy upright and resume the paranormal experiment.
If that was a spirit, can you make one of the meters go off? Oh, whoa. Seen it?
What?
Look at my meter.
Many of the paranormal EVP they've caught on camera has been the voice of a child, so they logically infer that this could be a spirit of a child trapped inside of the doll.
Are you a young spirit? Are you a child? Look, you see that?
Somehow the doll creepily nods with agreement that it's possessed by a little girl, and then it presents them with some of the best paranormal evidence of the night.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was you that maybe moved the doll and did the K2 meter. Now we'd like to... Whoa! Oh my... The K2 meter just fell over.
Somehow, upon the very mention of her paranormal equipment, her ghost meter, which is right by the doll's hand, falls over on its own, but the doll remains sitting up. Whatever this is, I think it's definitely paranormal and feeding off of their fearful energy.
Oh my God, this is so creepy. Whoa, okay.
This time they put the doll leaning back at an angle where it's impossible for it to fall forward by itself, and yet as they continue to speak, the toy leans forward and turns towards them as if making eye contact.
Who's making that doll move? Instead of I am.
The more they talk, the stronger it becomes, and after a while the doll is falling clear off the bed. It's too bad that we couldn't get a wider angle to prove that the ghost hunters weren't touching anything when it fell over. I feel like Clay could have ran his hand under the pillow to make it fall over, but they sound genuinely surprised, so I doubt it. Also, this final piece of paranormal evidence is enough proof in my mind that the Hamilton County Jail is quite haunted. They wait for their equipment to register movement and get nothing until they challenge it.
Don't be shy or scared. Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Oh.
That works a lot.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I think this is real because if you listen close, it beeps as soon as he says the word scared.
Maybe you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared.
Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.